Good day, scholars. Today we're going to be digging further into wireframing and user interface. All right. So last week we began talking a little bit about wireframing. In this module here, you'll see kind of the vocabulary that we went over last week, and you'll also see the slides that we kind of went through last week as well if you need a bit of a refresher. Your assignment for today is to create a user interface wireframe for the customer persona you created earlier this week. All right, so the first thing we need to do is we need to identify which customer persona we want to focus on, right? So I'm gonna open up a third hour one. You open up whatever, which one makes sense for you. And in this document here, we have several different customer personas. I'm gonna first choose one. Okay, so the customer I'm gonna make mine for is this old woman here. All right, she's 100 years old, and here's all this stuff about her. So I'm gonna keep this open for myself. All right, the next thing I'm gonna do is, so that's what I did right there, right? Choose a customer persona. That's what I just did. The next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open up Lucid app and create an account. Okay, if you already created an account, that's great. I'm just gonna go ahead and open it up. Actually, here I have it right here. Once you're logged in with Google and all that kind of stuff, it should look like this. Then what I'm gonna do is I'm going to create a new chart here. So once I'm on Lucid Chart, I'm gonna hit plus new, and I'm gonna create a blank document. And it'll take a little bit to load up. Okay. Let's look at some stuff to remember here before we get in here. Some things to keep in mind while you're designing your wireframes. Okay, the primary function of the app is a stress relief application that allows users to draw on the screen. Okay, there's some components here that we should probably think about adding. Right. So, what are some ways to make the app more stress relieving? Maybe they want some color options for the drawing, some types of lines. Make sure to add ways for the users to navigate the application easily. These sorts of things. And if we look at the buyer that I chose, right, it's an old woman, right? She's got a big family. She likes baseball, doctor stuff, which is interesting. She wants to get the PlayStation 7, apparently. Hopefully, she lives long enough for that. But this is our customer. So I'm going to add some stuff to the application to kind of help out this older woman here who is our customer. So let's go back to our blank document that we opened up. It's finally done loading here. And to create the actual wireframe, we're going to use the shapes here on the left, right? So all this stuff here on the left we're going to use, and we're also going to use some of this stuff up here. A lot of this stuff is stuff you guys have used before, like fonts and changing colors and stuff like that. Some of it might be some new stuff. So you're going to have to play around with some things. The first thing I notice here on the left side is that we need more shapes than this, right? We only have a few shapes. So I'm going to go on the left here. I'm going to hit plus shapes. And you'll see in this library here, there's a bunch that I can add. Okay, I'm going to add the ones that I suggest you add, which include Android mockups, which will give me some different phone stuff. Another one that's a good one is iOS mockups, which is, Apple's sort of different components that you can add there. A very good one is UI mockups for user interface. This is general buttons and containers and stuff like that. And that's all I'm going to add. You're free to add other ones. There's a bunch in here, but I'm going to add only those. So I have them selected. I'm going to go here to the bottom right and hit Use Selected Shapes. And you'll notice on the left here, it's added all of these shapes for me. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add. Let me get a phone screen here. It doesn't matter which one you pick, really. I'm going to pick the iPhone 6 Plus or S Plus, and I'm going to grab a couple of them actually, because you're going to want at least two screens for the user to use, right? So this is going to be our main screen here, like our loading screen, also known as a splash screen in the industry. And this is going to be the screen that we actually put the main function of the application on, where the user can draw. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add, and this is just going to be an example, by the way. If you feel like you're comfortable using these shapes to make your application, you're free to stop the video and go along with it for now, and just kind of try and make your application. But I'm gonna show you guys an example. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add just a box here, and I'm just going to put the name of the app here. So I'm going to put relaxation app. And I'm going to put logo here, just as a placeholder. Okay, it doesn't have to look super pretty. And then I'm going to find a couple of buttons that I can use. There's one that says button. but I think I want a different one. I want this one. So I'm gonna grab this button. I'm gonna grab two of them actually, because I want one button for the user to click that says start drawing. And you know what? I just realized actually I'm gonna make these buttons large. Okay, because the customer that I chose, right? If I remember correctly, the customer that I chose is super old, right? Do you think she can see well? Probably not. We need to make these buttons larger and easier for her to click on. And also I'm gonna make the text larger too. Right? And you notice that I mistyped something there, right? Same thing with this one. I'm gonna make this one larger as well. Because we're really worried about our customer here. We want to make sure our customer can use our application and likes our application. So I'm going to make the buttons larger for her to see. And maybe this button will be like user settings or something like that. And again, I'm going to make the font larger because she's old. Okay. So again, that's just a an example kind of back screen. Let's kind of, can we make the actual phone a different color? I'm gonna kind of experiment with it. So there we go. Like I can make this. So maybe she's old. I want it to be relaxing. So I'm gonna do a nice blue there in the background, and maybe so she can see the buttons better. I'll make the buttons a nice orange that kind of stand out, so she can see them easier. And you know, maybe I'd want to bold these just as an example, so she can see it a little bit easier. Then what I need to do is I need to take her to this screen. So I want this button here to take her to the second screen here. To indicate that, I'm going to click on this button. And you'll see right here the little red circle that appears. I'm just going to click and drag that circle and drag it to this screen here. And all that shows is when the user clicks on this button, it takes her to the screen over here. And this is going to be the main screen where they draw. So let's go back to my user here and kind of, so she's stressed, right? She likes to play baseball. She's retired. She really likes medical science. And she's old. Right? She also is rural. I can use some of this information to make my application good for her. So first off, she likes drawing, obviously, or else she wouldn't buy the application. I need to add a spot for her to draw in. And I'm just going to use a regular old square that I found here. I'm going to make it a little bit larger. So I'm going to make this the spot where she can draw. Okay. And just as an example, maybe I'm going to put some text in there actually, just to write out what exactly I want it to be. So here the user will draw as our customer really likes baseball, maybe add some baseball theme pictures for her to color in. Like just as an example, this isn't part of the app, but this is just me kind of writing out, putting my thoughts on the page here as so I can look back at it later and kind of figure out, okay, this is what I was thinking when I designed this. So the user will draw here. She's probably going to want an easy way to change the color. So I'm going to find a color picker that I added. Let's see. Dark radio button. I'm going to make this a color button. So obviously it says it's a radio button, but I'm going to make it a button for to change the color. And obviously, can I make it larger? Color scheme, dark, light. Maybe I can't make it larger. There might be a way to make it larger. I'm going to use something else. I need something that I can change the size of. Dark toggle on. Radio button. We'll use this. Or maybe, no, we'll use this. So I'm going to use this as a way for her to change the color. Actually, I just realized I accidentally deleted the wrong thing. I'm going to use this as a color changer. And I'm going to make it big because, again, she can't see super well. So I'm going to make, that's going to be where she clicks down to change the color. And I'm also going to put right here a drop-down menu for her to change the image that she draws on. Select image. Okay, so those are the options there. And then down here, because she is talking about, you know, she's kind of boring, right? But she wants to be, she's stressed out, and she'd probably like some old people music. I'm just thinking off the top of my head there, but she'd probably like some old people music. So let's see, we have some UI music stuff here. I think I have a music slider somewhere here. I believe I do. UI containers is a vertical scroll bar, horizontal scroll bar. And you're going to have to play around with some of this just to find things that make sense for you. Dark text. I thought I had a way to where it looked like there was a music bar here. Let me go ahead and find that real quick. Here it is. Here it is. So here's an audio bar I can use. So this is I'm going to dedicate the whole bottom of this for her to. So I'm going to make this large because she needs to be able to see it, right? To be able to change. And she's going to have to turn that up all the way because she's old. But I'm also going to add another drop down box. Maybe this one. I'm going to make this larger so she can see it, right? And I'm going to rename this. I'm going to put this as select old people music. Right? Because she likes old people music. We're gonna put some actual old people music in there for her. Obviously not right now, but just as an example. So there we go. That's basically my design, right? So I've got large buttons because she can't see well. I've got old people music in here for her. I've made the color selectors larger, and I've kept it really simple. Okay, because she is stressed, she just wants to relax. She's pretty old, so I'm going to assume she's not super good at technology. So I'm going to keep it simple. All right. The idea here is to design it for your customer. Just as an example, let's look at some other ones just so you can kind of see what else you can put together here. Here's one that I made in class as an example. All right. I don't think this was made for an old person. This might have been made for somebody else. But this looks very similar, but I've added some different stuff. I've added some different colors here for them to use because I wanted to make it more complicated for whoever this user was, right? Here's an example of a different application. This is not the same exact app that you guys are making, but this is a different type of application. Just as an example of a wireframe, notice I've used the different arrows to show where they go, and whoever this customer is, obviously, they're wanting to lose weight. They want to be able to consume less sugar, so I've added all those options for them. All right, so this is just kind of an example. If you got questions, feel free to ask during class. Reach out to me and kind of see what I can do to help you out. But for the most part, you're just designing at least a 2-screen application for a customer that you choose from the personas in the module.